This here was from, I want you guys to look at this now, look very carefully. What's this from? This is from Exeter Trek, which is a fan series that was done in the era of Christopher Pike. Now, I want you to think about that. It was done in the original Cage spirit about the Christopher Pike era. And if you notice behind me, the snorkels with the communication devices on them, yeah, we're going to take a little travel here through time when I tell you about these, because it's really cool. These things, and any Trekkie knows what these things are. And I got to do this very carefully here, but any Trekkie knows what this thing is, right? You know what that is. There it is. That's the comm that they used in not only the Cage, but in the Corbomite maneuver as well, which was the second pilot. Where did Gene get this idea to build these comm devices that look like this? Why would he? It looks like something from War of the Worlds, for Christ's sake, right? Why would he build something like that? I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because at the 1964, 1965 World's Fair in New York, I believe, I'm trying to think who it was. It was a communications company. It might have been AT&T. They actually came out with one of the first, or I don't quote me on that. I'm not sure what company it was, but they came out with a communication device that looks just like that, except it was huge. It had like a 15-inch CRT monitor in it, okay? And you would actually see a color image of the person you were talking to on the communications device. And at the time, it was revolutionary. It was absolutely revolutionary. Nowadays, not so much, but hey, it was a big deal back then. And so these communications devices were actually, hello guys that are just joining us in the chat room. Hello, Peggy. I think it was Peggy. These communication devices out here, they, like I said, designed after a design that was seen by Gene Roddenberry at the World's Fair. And let me tell you something else really cool about that 1964, 1965 World's Fair. There's a really cool piece of trivia about that. Disney and Gene Roddenberry were both there. And there's a lot of parallels between a lot of things that were done back then. And these were two genius, very creative men that at the time both just happened to be at the same event, where many of these really cool things that were both used on rides and used in Star Trek were being debuted for all of us to see. I just think that's really, really cool. Again, for those of you just joining us, we are live in Kingsland, Georgia. This is the Star Trek Continues studio sets that were used in the fan production Star Trek Continues. And they are here now, called the Neutral Zone Studio. And you can come here and walk around here and visit. The only rules are you can't lay on nothing, you can't climb on nothing, and you can't bring any food and drink in here. But that's pretty much it. They're really great here. They really are open and great, and they let us do whatever we want. They even let us dress up. And this behind me, you see what this is? A Mark II torpedo. I don't think that's the one they buried Spock in. I don't think that's it. No, actually, I know that's not it. Because, you know why? Because I'm sure that one blew up when the planet blew up on Regulus, right? All right, so anyway, and this was Exeter Trek. This was one of the first big Star Trek fan productions that were ever made. Was called Exeter Trek, and it was made by these folks right here, and they made their bridge, which this console here comes from. They made their bridge, and I got to tell you, it's really cool. They made their bridge, and it was very realistic as well. I mean, if you look how realistic this is, it's really cool. So I thought that was something really cool to show you. And there's a lot of neat things in here that have to do with different shows. Like that looks like a hatch out of an airplane. I don't, but there's all kinds of stuff where they shoot little scene here, little scene there, and that's kind of how they do that.